the win. Can you just talk about momentum and how that shifted, if it has, or how you guys are feeling headed into this one?
Yeah, momentum's a real thing. You're right back in it. The narrative has definitely changed, and I think our team is always ready to go out and scrap, fight, battle, do whatever they have to do to win a baseball game. It was a typical type of a outcome for us yesterday in a close game. We expect to be able to execute at a high level, stay in, and hopefully get a chance to win games like that. And when you do, it's just a really good feeling to watch those guys celebrate on the field and actively be a part of the excitement post game. It was a great feeling, and this team is in a really good spot. But it doesn't mean you can just throw it out there, throw the balls and the bats out there, and you're going to win a baseball game. You got to go out and execute again the same way.
Quick follow-up: how important is it now to have today and tomorrow here at home as well?
Well, I think it's huge. First of all, you don't want to watch a team celebrate on your home field, right? As they advance, I think that's something that the group doesn't want to have to watch. But playing in front of these fans has been pretty interesting for us. We feel their love, we feel their support. It's very loud, and we want to make them proud. So playing at home is a fantastic opportunity for us to go out and execute and hopefully win some baseball games.
JP.
Thanks, Torey. When you set your lineup today, to what extent do you look ahead beyond the left-handed opener and say that maybe the lineup will reflect if you expect to see a right-hander after him?
Yeah, you're talking about Sanchez, that type of thing, right? I'm sure they're doing the same thing, right? They know that Mantiply is a 1+ guy. He hasn't gotten more than 2 in quite some time. We're projecting and seeing what Sanchez is doing right now. We're having those conversations. We're seeing what Sanchez has done leading up to today and having those conversations. But we were going to basically run the same lineup out there, plus or minus 1 guy. So it didn't make a huge difference, but we'll read and react and make some adjustments. We're a very right-handed hitting team, no matter what. Even when it doesn't matter if a righty or lefty's in there, if a right-handed pitcher's in there, we do tend to have a heavy right-handed lineup. So we talked about it. We'll probably have a couple of options at some point in the game to transition, and when we do it, when we trigger it, there'll be a strategy to that for sure.
Taijuan Walker, obviously you had him here 6 years ago. He was your Game 1 starter 6 years ago. What are your memories of having him on your team and your playoff roster back then?
Yeah, just an all-time gamer, wants the baseball, never wants to come out of games, all the natural ingredients that you want from a starting pitcher. And he could just shoulder a huge workload, and he never backed down. I got to know him a little bit personally too, and I'm always rooting for him when he's in the other organization that we're not playing, right? So happens to be him throwing against us and getting some bulk innings today. We're going to be ready for him.
Barry.
So flipping it, Torey, how about your pitching? They have Walker, 15-game winner, to come in behind their guy. What are you looking at right now, and how are you stacking it up behind Manipulek?
I don't want to give away any of the trade secrets, right? Any of the industry's secrets. It should be fairly obvious how we're going to attack them, and I know that they know it as well. So, remember what I said yesterday when I was asked a question, and it's not rocket science. We have 1, 2, 3. Who's going to attack those 3 hitters? 2, 3, 4. Who's going to attack those hitters? 3, 4, 5. Who's going to attack those hitters? So. The guys I know that the bullpen pieces are energized right now walking in here. They know that at some point in time their name's going to get pulled. They're going to be out there from the first inning on. Typically, we have a couple guys that transition out there late. There is going to be no ground rule. That's what I'll say. It's an all-in situation, and everybody needs to be ready to go.
So I know this is Major League Baseball in this century, in this part of the century.
Right.
But going back as far as you do, what's your feeling about having a bullpen game in a key game of the playoffs rather than having a real starter to just start the game? I mean, it's been happening now for the last 3 or 4 years in the postseason.
I am very traditional, at heart, right? In 4th grade, I did a book report on Roy Campanella, and my next book report was written about the Gas House Gang, right? So who's doing that in 4th grade? Nobody. So that ought to tell you where I came from. But one of my biggest fears is getting stuck in 2005 and not evolving as a manager and getting run over by this game. And I think everybody in every industry that they're in has that same feel. If you're going to evolve and stay ahead of the curve, you're going to be successful. So I know where I came from. I know my roots in this game, and I appreciated the Gibson Drysdale games for sure. Loved them. But this is a new generation of baseball where things are broken down to the inning, to the batter, to the out, to the pitch on a level that we've never seen before. I'm sure that if Bob Gibson had that data today and some managers had that data and information today that we have, that they would have evolved as well. I don't want to take anything away from that generation. I'm so grateful that these guys were throwing 250 plus every year. But it's just not how baseball is today. For whatever reason, it's not, and I think I need to make that adjustment.
Well, Gibson, you would have not done what you did yesterday with Gibson because he would have just kicked you off the mound.
Yeah, somebody said, I saw it on, who told me that they saw that if I came out there to get somebody, they would have told me to go away. I can't remember who it was. No, it was somebody that I was shared a dugout with at one point in time. I think maybe with the Red Sox. Anyways, I can't remember. I had 150 text messages last night. I haven't got through them all, but I tend to go to the ones that have some videos because I get entertained by those. So yeah, whoever it was, it might have been like Doyle Alexander would have said, "Get off." He did tell me that. Get off this mound and don't ever come back.
That sounds like it.
Oh, man, he scared me. And I never made a mound visit as a player after that in the rest of my career, ever. One time I went to Gene Nelson. I'm like, Gino, manager sent me out here to slow this down. And he's like, yeah, I saw that. It's okay. Come on up here. What do you want to talk about? I'm like, I just need to let the bullpen get hot and get ready. He's going to come out here and take you out in about another minute. Sorry about that. Did it one time.
Jeff?
Gene Nelson.
I could.
Jeff, yeah.
All good. I could sense sort of the existential dread that you had last night about this very subject, and we saw this year in Major League Baseball, the league implement measures to change the game. Like the pitch clock is an obvious one. There are potential measures to incentivize starting pitchers staying in the game that the league could promote. Is that the sort of thing you, as a manager, would like to see happen to help bring starting pitching back and force clubs to do that? Because without being forced, there will be no change, and this will be the new normal.
Right. Yeah, I think Major League Baseball has done an unbelievable job of making adjustments. Once again, you go back 25, 30 years ago, you'd have never dreamed that there'd be a pitch clock or instant replay, but it is changing the game in a very positive way. So I think whatever they decide to do, we will follow those rules, and I don't want to ever circumvent the process that they follow, nor be disrespectful to what the current process is. But I feel like if there is a certain batter minimum and you are going to promote good starting pitching and help young starting pitchers go out there and expect to get to a certain point in the game, I'd certainly be supportive of that. Yes, absolutely.
Jesse?
Just curious, do you remember the first bullpen game that you watched or heard about, and what was your reaction at the time?
Yeah, it was in Tampa. It was the righty reliever from the Giants. It was Romo, and I was like, "What are you doing, Cashy? This is crazy." And then I read his comments afterwards, and I thought that's actually a pretty good idea. He had his best righty option attack their three top hitters, and now you're talking about one less at bat. That might not be a great matchup for pitcher A and B, but I dug into it and paid attention to it and was curious about it. We tried to do it here, but when the National League had the pitcher hitting, it became a little bit of a challenge. But since it's changed, I feel like, once again, I don't want to get stuck in 2015 and get run over. We got to stay on top of this.
Jack?
Is the biggest challenge with, where you might have to use 5, 6, 7, 8 pitchers, just the fact that the more you use, the higher the odds that one of them can't find their release point and just It's all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. You always worry about that when you have when you're starting to shuffle things a little bit. But I know that they've been working hard to make sure that something bad doesn't happen, where they find out where that ball is going and how to make pitches. I think there's a different mindset today. They know it's a bullpen day, and they know that I better be spot on, and my manager and my teammates are going to count on me in a way to go out and collect 3 outs and throw the minimal amount of pitches. We got another game tomorrow, right? We got to be mindful of that. So I don't want to absolutely tire out the bullpen. And I firmly believe if you want it bad enough, you're never too tired. And I think that's where we're at right now overall. So I don't necessarily worry about a fatigue, but it is in the back of my mind if a guy can't go out there and execute because he just doesn't have the physical strength to put that arm in the same slot every single time. But everybody's strong, and we should be okay today.
Teo.
You just alluded to this a little bit, but does it make it a little bit easier to go through a bullpen game today knowing that you have Zach tomorrow?
Of course. Zach and Merrill on the backside of that. Those guys are horses, and they're good for 18 to 21 outs just about every time they go out there. So yeah, it is giving me an opportunity to be extremely flexible and have that all-in mentality today.
For Zach, what does he need to do tomorrow to be more effective than we saw in Game 1?
Yeah, I watched some of the highlights. I think he just needs to throw his fastball where he wants to. I think there were a couple misses, a yank to Schwarber. Something that leaked back over the plate to Harper. And who knows? They might have hit those pitches anyways. I don't know. But when he's spot on with his fastball, it sets up that secondary stuff. So I would say mostly fastball command. That's usually the issue with him when he gets hit around a little bit.
Bob in the back.
Torey, with Zach, is there a constant back and forth talking to him just how he feels in the sense he's thrown so many more innings than his career high?
You're talking about Zach Allen? Yes. Yeah, he's up over 200 innings. He's absorbed a lot for us this year. And when I was asked the other day about if we would think about pushing him up, that's what I had in mind. Like, it just would not be fair to him, his body, his mind, and his spirit to have to go in there and on short rest, because he's already worked a long time and worked very hard for us. But he has an awesome 4-day routine that allows him to stay sharp. And, he's a smaller guy. I don't think there's a ton of extra energy that's burned. It's a very efficient delivery. And it allows him to go out there every 5th day. And he's, knock on wood, I've never seen him banged up or hurt to the point where he's missed, a number of starts. I know there have been missed starts last year or the year before, but nothing that put him in a bad situation. I need to avoid that. But we know the number of innings that he's thrown, and we just got to be a little bit cautious with him moving forward. So we'll keep him on every 5th day when possible.
Jesse down here.
Torey, it seems like just about every decision you've made in this postseason has worked, or at least the vast majority of them. How do you just kind of evaluate your own job as manager and how you've done so far?
First of all, it's all about the players for me, and when they're called upon and they go out there and execute and do their job, they're the ones that deserve all the credit. So I just feel like knowing your players and putting them in the best situation to be successful is one of the key components to what I do every single day. And I think Nick asked me this question in Philly. I have a strategy to everything that I do, and it's talked about with minimal stimulus right now, and it's like, how am I going to play this game of chess? And that's how my mind works. I am really genuinely excited about today's maneuverability once the game starts. I can't wait to get it going to see how those pieces come out. So that strategy is something that I believe in, and when it works, you can look like you're pushing the right buttons, right? But when it doesn't work, you got those basement keyboard pounders that are just going to annihilate you. And that's the nature of the beast. But I can assure everybody that's watching and listening to what I'm saying right now, there's a strategy to it, and there's a reason for everything that I do on a daily basis when it comes to a baseball game.